Holly, welcome back. Part two. Really excited to see you again for it's actually my third time I've seen you. The first time in person when my wife and I were in Iceland on our honeymoon. We heard about this incredible school bus that serves the best coffee. We had to go. And yes, it was the best coffee. Absolutely memorable. One of the best things in Iceland that we've done. We're honestly dying to go back. We can't wait to go back. We can't wait to say hello to you. And the second time I saw you was on episode, I wrote it down, 118, April of last year. Wow, time flies. And I'm happy to have you back. So, Holly, how is it going for you?
Oh, it's good to be back. I must say, though, if the bus was one of the best things you did in Iceland, you must have had a horrible trip.
It was amazing. It was epic. It was just very memorable. I will say that.
No, I've been really good, thank you. It's been a big year of changes and challenges and tests, but all in the right, all in for the right reasons, I guess, in the
Yeah, we're
end.
gonna we're gonna tackle some of that. And for people tuning in for the first time, learning who you are and all about school beans, yes, go back to episode 118. But if you're not gonna do that, Holly, please introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Holly, and I'm the owner of Skool Beans Cafe, which is a converted old American school bus situated underneath an enormous, well overdue volcano in the most southern point of Iceland, in a town called Vik. Is
And
there
for
anything more?
no,
What more?
well, for people that don't, I mean, you have to Google school beans. I mean, it's really cool. It's very unique. And my wife was asking, I don't recall if you covered this on our initial episode. She says, why Vic? Why did you choose Vic?
Yeah, we did touch on it actually. And I said, because it's one of the only towns I can spell in Iceland, which isn't completely a lie. No, it's a really, if you're coming from Reykjavik, it's one of the first kind of main stops. It's 2.5 hours drive, so it's a doable drive. And as you come over the mountain into Vik, you're greeted with this vista of this cute town in this sort of bowl, and then oceans, mountains, glaciers, and it's just like it encapsulates Iceland in one tiny little town with about 400 people living here. So it just, my heart just fell here and decided that I wanted to live by the sea, under a volcano, near a glacier, with a mountain. That's
It
about
is
it.
stunning. It is stunning. And the entire island of Iceland is stunning.
It is.
And for people that are just like, where's Vic? You probably have seen it with the black sand beach. How do you pronounce that?
Reynisfjara. Yeah. So it's Reynisfjara. There's two sides of it. There's the side that I'm on, which you get the Reynisdranger rocks, which are these big old Nordic tale, like a ship and a troll or something frozen in the water. And then we have this beautiful beach that isn't full of tourists, but we still have the puffins. We have the horse riding school go up and down, so it's really nice. The other side of the mountain, outside of Vik, is where the famous basalt columns are. And that's the iconic one, with the really dangerous beach that lots of people get carried into the water. So
Yeah,
there's
that's for
signs
real.
everywhere, and but that's the most famous one, and it's where all the bus tours go. So we're 10 minutes from there, so you can access those sites, but actually remove yourself from the hustle and bustle of that sort of tourist track really easily by just coming into the town and seeing the beach from the other side of the mountain.
And if I recall correctly, there's that famous church right up the hill there too, right? And
Yeah.
you're kind of below that, right?
Yeah, it's one of the highest points of the town. It's actually our evacuation point. If the volcano erupts,
Oh,
we'll go to
jeez.
church.
Well, speaking of, I want to get there. While you just said volcano erupts, there's been a lot of news over the last 7, 8, maybe 9 months. I don't know what it's been about volcanoes erupting. I don't know, not necessarily close to you, but closer to kind of where like the Blue Lagoon is.
Hmm.
What's been happening over in Iceland with these volcanoes, and have you been affected at all?
We haven't been affected. So it actually started three years ago. Um, there's a town called Grindavik, and it's in that sort of area of where the volcano was. And 3 years ago, I think it was three, the first eruption started, and we felt the earthquake here. I was in bed, and I was like, I didn't have a drink last night. Why is the room moving? You know, and I
Mm-hmm.
noticed my plant swinging. So I was like, oh, it
Mm.
definitely isn't in my head. And that was amazing because it was in the middle of nowhere and it was safe. Now, normally when volcanoes erupt, people run away from them, but in Iceland, we all run towards them because we want to see it. And it was one of those viewer-friendly volcanoes. And then every year it's been erupting ever since, but it's been creeping towards a residential area, and which has been evacuated, Grindavik. And it's also creeping towards the big power plant, which services over 40,000 properties. So
Mm.
you can imagine if that goes in winter, that's 40,000 properties without heating or light, electricity, without power, full stop. We don't have gas here. So that's the big question, is how are we going to protect the power plant? But as far as Vik goes, we're unaffected by that eruption completely as it stands at the moment. We're completely safe from it. The one that we need to watch out for is Katla, which is one that's above us, and that one's a bit scary. Yeah.
Did that blow like 12, 15 years ago or something like that? Is that the one that?
No, that was in 2010, Eyjafjallajökull, which is like 30 minutes out of town. That one erupted, and that was the one that stopped all of the aircraft in Europe, apart from Iceland. Iceland was just like, ah. They have a saying, which is like, oh, it's fine. It just carried on.
The way you pronounce these, you say glacier, I say glacier. The way you pronounce these names, trust me, you can pronounce any town in Iceland. It's absolutely mind-boggling. I remember the first time I went to Iceland, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try to speak their language. And I think I look at the map and I said, never mind, I'm not doing that. I don't I have no clue how to pronounce these words. It's
Which
crazy.
goes back to, why did you move to Vik? I can say it and I can spell it.
Everybody
No,
can say Vik.
it's a case of pronounce it with confidence, but don't be fooled. My partner, who's Icelandic, he will correct me on any Icelandic word I say. So if I just say it with confidence to someone that doesn't know the actual right way to say it, I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
You definitely do. To me, you do. You said power plant. So Iceland's different, right? I mean, your power is it like hydrogen or something? How is
It's
Iceland powered?
100% green energy from geothermal and hydropower. It's too windy for wind farming here.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and in fact, they dismantled a wind farm a year or two ago because it just broke. It's just too windy. Um, so yeah, geothermal and hydro, of which we have endless amounts of. So Iceland is 100% green energy. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's stunning, amazing, and I hope that sets a standard for other countries around the
Yeah.
world. The wind is incredible. We were close to where your school bus is, and we went up to where the light tower is in Vic, and I
Dearly.
would I would say at least 80, 85 miles per I do miles per hour here. We were getting blown over. I was like, because there's a big cliff up there. I'm like, I'm not getting close to this. Like, I don't feel comfortable at all. We were like crouching, trying to crawl to go see the view. The wind was ripping. It's legit. So I guess if any wind is gonna destroy wind power, it would be in
Yeah.
Iceland.
The wind here it's wild. It can roll over cars. They actually closed the road. We have one main road that goes around the whole island. And of course, if you have towns, you have your roads within that town. But essentially, Iceland has one massive road. Route One is creatively called. So, um, and if it's over a certain meters per second, they say here, they close the road and the island shuts down. Simple as that. You will move our cars to make sure that we're sheltered from the wind. So you'll find on a really windy day, you can tell who the residents are who live here because we know where to park our cars. So one side of the supermarket is completely full with like local cars, and then you see all the people, the tourists with hire cars, kind of going, "What's going on there?"
I got a great spot here.
But luckily, Iceland has an amazing system and a weather warning system, so we'll know a day or two before we're about to get some of the windstorms, and we can start.
Yeah, the weather is what they say, four seasons in one day. It's remarkable, that's for sure.
It definitely makes you feel alive, that's for sure.
Oh, and you got a sweatshirt on right now. You're feeling looking cozy and everything. Here I am. It's like 95 degrees here, sweating, trying to stay cool. It's
It's so funny because we
worlds
sat
away.
outside yesterday. It was sunny and still, and we sat outside yesterday, and me and my partner, we were like, "Whoa, this is boiling!" And so we got our shorts and t-shirt on, sat outside. Johannes is burning, Icelandic, slightly ginger, so he burns easily. I'm sat there like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Checked the temperature, 12 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was like
I'm
12
not sure, but it doesn't
centigrade. It's
seem
like a
that
winter
hot.
day in England.
Yeah, it
It
is
was,
scorching here.
yeah.
Um, you made a comment a few weeks ago to me I thought was absolutely amazing. You told me that a cyclist was going all the way around Iceland and he stopped into School Beans because of the podcast that we did.
Yes. Yes. There was a bit of a funny story with that
Tell
cyclist.
me more.
Well, not only did he list because oh no, he was doing this ultra. I've had two different cyclists talk about the podcast. One was doing this enormous endurance ride through the Highlands, like hundreds of kilometers. And I was like, wow, this is so cool that you've listened to it. And he was like, he looked like he really knew what he's doing. I think he was probably quite well known in his field. It was busy, so I couldn't talk too much, but it was super exciting. And then, not long after, I had a road cyclist that was cycling the ring road. Maybe that's one I told you about. And I was going through the map with him, saying where his next stop would be. And I was like, oh, 66 kilometers, your next town, it's going to be fine. Anyway, he rides his bike there and he's with a group of people. So it's quite a way with all your gear. And
Yeah.
it wasn't nice weather. And as they approach the bridge, an enormous glacier flood comes down and washes out the road. So about
Wow.
5 minutes before they got there. And so they were lucky, but it did mean they had to turn around and come back all the other way. So they came in first thing in the morning and they were the last customers at the end of the day. And I felt really bad. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Sorry about that.
Whoops.
Yeah. So they had a leg day, but they came back twice because of you. So
That's
thanks.
amazing. I love to hear that. I've heard some incredible stories because of this podcast. Now people connecting and networking and going places they never would have gone makes me feel really good. I love hearing that, and I'm curious. Like for in the last year, how's business going for you? How's everything going for School Beans?
Yeah, it's well, firstly, we love what you do as well. So it's definitely a two-way street.
Thank you.
Um, but thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Um, how has School Beans been? So we spoke June, I think, no, April last year, I think.
April. Yep.
Um, and so I had just opened for the season. And then so that was my first winter before that I actually closed for the winter because it's just the snow buries the bus and it becomes impossible. And I end up losing so much money having to staff it and stock it and pay staff even when they can't get there. So I did the same last year or this year. I closed for the winter. And all of the crew from last year came back this year, which was amazing because it meant opening day, we all knew what we were doing. Of course, we didn't know what we were doing. It's been closed for 3 months, but we all seemed like we knew what we were doing. Nobody needed training, and it was just a perfect connected team already. What I did do this year, though, is actually reduce the hours of the bus for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there's a massive lack of accommodation in Vig. I think it's like that with so many places at the moment. But in Vik, it's a small town that they can't overdevelop because there's floodplains either side. And so what happened was, in order for me to open the 6 days a week, 9 to 5, I needed 1.5 extra staff members. Unless I was always that staff member, I was always that 1.5 extra kind of trying to get anyone to cover a lunch cover or doing the lunch covers myself. And it just got to a point that I was exhausted or the team felt like they had to cover those hours to help me. So I reduced the hours, and for psychologically, it was the best thing I've ever done. It's obviously the business has taken a financial hit, but when we go back to the title of your podcast, The Pursuit of Happiness, money is not the root of all happiness. And by paying myself, like by not having the business open, paying myself in time and rest has enabled me to have a much stronger year. Mentally, the staff are happier. It's high season now, so of course we're all feeling it, but we all get 2 days off every day. We get a restful afternoon. And it's just been a great environment to work in. Really, really good decision. Scary, but a good decision. So that was the biggest change, is the reduction in hours. When I opened, everything came at me at once. The municipality said, you're going to need to move your bus, and we're going to move it literally half a kilometre out of town in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, oh, that's a bit of a shame, because I love where I am, and there's nothing there. And then they said, well, the golf club's moving as well. You can wait until they move that. So next season, I'll probably be moved. We'll
Oh
see how
no,
it
really?
goes. I'm a bit scared because it's half a kilometre doesn't sound like a lot, but for someone to walk for a cup of coffee, that's quite like 600 meters it is. It's kind of annoying for someone. And then the garage that I rent, that I'm reliant on, said, oh, you have to relocate. So I was like, okay, I'll deal with that as well. And then we had another business open, almost identical, with a school bus an hour before Veek. I was like, oh,
Are
this
you
is
serious? Someone ripped off your business?
I mean, what I don't want to do is start getting into a kind of a good luck. I do wish them well, because anybody that starts a business, there is, you need support. But, it's the same color. The name is quite specific. And it would have been nice to have it just a slight twist on it, because the School Beans is such a sort of an institution now, that if people obviously see a bright yellow school bus, they're going to assume it's me. And yeah, that happens. But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do. So what I
Well, I'm
said
more
to
angry than you are. You're being
I'm just
very good. I
suppressing
appreciate
mine.
that.
Mine's going to come out in some way, shape, or form down the line.
What? I mean, come on. If this is like a ginormous country like the US or something, then so be it. This is little Iceland. Someone did it an hour away. That's
I know it was a bit sad, but I said to my team, we are going to handle this with grace. We're going to stand up tall, and we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing, and we're just going to be fine as long as we. I don't want to start getting into like a bitter battle, because it's not going to serve anybody, especially me. I just don't have that energy. I'd rather put the energy into the bus. So I did. So I've started really focusing on some really, really nice drinks, and different merchandise options, and also starting a second business, not coffee related.
yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. I'm
Ooh.
glad you said special drinks, because I'm
Oh.
thinking that school bus doesn't have Holly. And I remember our first conversation, the ingredients and your amazing drinks is definitely like was I would have gone there anyways if it was just a drip coffee, but like the amazing drinks and ingredients and how much love and time you put into these drinks made it like that much better. And this school bus does not have that. And while I'm thinking, maybe you just create a School Beans Part 2 in Reykjavik. So before they even get down to this other place, they've already hit yours up.
Oh gosh. The amount of times I've been asked to franchise, but I think, there are some companies that have franchised, and that started in the Nordics and Scandinavia, and they were all small businesses with heart, and then they franchise, and then they just become essentially fast food places without any soul. And the
Yeah.
one thing I love about School Beans, and I might be a fool, I know I could have franchised by now, and I know I had financial backers and all sorts, but I've turned them away, because the importance that School Beans is the customer interaction and that engagement. And I think the minute you franchise and you don't have someone that has that complete belief in there, you just lose that soul. And the owners of the new one, they're nice. I don't want to take that away from them. I don't want to take it away from them, but I don't think I'd want to franchise. We have just gone nuts on, well, when you say we, my brain has just gone nuts on drinks, and we've just launched some really nice ones this year. And she just won last week, which is super special, which I can tell you about if you want.
I do want to know. And I remember our initial conversation. I said, when are you going to come out with like a recipe book or some kind of like a coffee cookbook? And I said, I want to help you with that. I'm still waiting for it because
I
your
know.
drinks are awesome. We need to do this.
it's funny because you have been on my mind, and I have had it. I've got this list that I go through, and it's like tick, 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 and then it's a computer thing. So when you tick it off, it disappears. It's amazing. I love it. And this recipe book has stayed there since we last spoke. And there's two reasons. One, I'm a bit scared to, because then everybody has, my recipes are really ratio dependent. And you've got to factor in that for costs, for flavor, for color, for so much, and also how many you're making. And if you're making 3, you don't need to triple the amount of ingredients. It's like they're really kind of sensitive to the ingredients that I put in. And 2, the ingredients I import from all around the world. And I think it would be one of those recipe books that would be almost impossible for some people to get those ingredients, and expensive. But the main reason is, now I've felt a slight feeling of a copycat. Imagine if I went to a cafe somewhere and I was like, what the hell? They've got my drinks on there. I could be really upset by that. Or I don't know, maybe happy if it was in like
Yeah,
New York.
imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery, whatever that saying is. Like I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's like,
But people say it's flattery, but you know what? It's not. It's really personal.
yeah, I mean, you're an artist. You're an artist and you feel a little ripped off. So I mean,
Love it. But
I
it is,
get it.
we're very different. We have very different menus. So that is the key. And I left it with them. I said, look, all I ask is that you respect what I've created and my menu, and you protect it, and I'll do the same to yours. And we will be friendly competitors rather than enemies. Because I don't want to create an enemy 1 hour from me. They could
Yeah.
just turn, so it's really important that I kind of, wish them luck.
Well, they
And
created an enemy by putting that bus there. That's what
well,
that's
Tab
on
have not
them.
reacted well. The amount of messages that I was getting, like really quite like furious messages,
Yeah.
and I've had to calm everybody else down. It's been so funny, because I've just been trying to like really kind of just stay calm about this, because there's nothing I can do legally. There's nothing I can do. So the only thing I can do is just chill out about it and just keep doing what I'm doing with the bus. But yeah, it's not that easy to tell other people.
Yeah.
so so join the queue of the
I
angry people.
I know, I get it. Like I said, I'll be angry for you. Take the high road, and we'll all take the low road for you.
I
But
hope the high road is the better road. Oh my god, I really hope so. But no, I'm really proud of the menu this year. It's got some awesome flavors on there and really cool ingredients. I've had to
so
spend a lot.
what's the new drink? Because I remember I got the pumpkin party. I'm a huge
Pumpkin
pumpkin
pie
fan. You sell pumpkin. It's year round, right?
all year round. Why
Yeah,
should it
that's the
just be one
best.
month? That's
It's
crazy.
my favorite. It's my favorite flavor. So I agree.
It's the most popular, well, one of the most popular drinks on the menu. And it is a lot of people going, oh my God, you sell it all year round. It's like,
The
yes,
best.
why would we limit it? Why would we
Yeah.
do this? So we've got loads of flavors on there. We did touch on it in the first interview, so you're going to have to listen to that, folks. And
Hmm.
we talked about the dragon's breath and the other things. Obviously, we've got the chocolate shots, which we have, which are pure melted chocolate, thick in an espresso cup, and we've got Turkish candy floss on them. The cherry pop we launched this year, which is cherry dark chocolate with cherry, topped with popping candy, and Turkish delight with cherry flavored and cherries on top, and delicious. And then last week I launched a drink that I have been wanting to launch for a while, and I was too scared to, because it's a very expensive drink. It's a very expensive drink to make. Took me a long time to create, and it comes with a price tag. So it's an expensive drink. And I was thinking, right, we're going to put it on the menu, and it's served in one of our ceramic cups that people can take away with them. So it does come with a cup and a cat paw spoon. And it's called the Glam Slam Shablam. And it is Nepalese white chocolate with organic pistachio essence, topped with cream, Spanish mountain bee pollen, gold leaf, and an edible garden of like dried flowers. And it's served in one of our limited edition fancy cups that only 500 were made, and a spoon. And I was thinking, it's definitely not going to sell, because essentially it's $100 this drink, because it comes in the cup, and so it's a crazy
Wow.
price. But when I did all the numbers, I was like, well, it's taking me this long, and actually it's worth it. And I was thinking, it's going to be one of those drinks that are talked about but no one ever orders, but it might get us into some sort of, the newspaper, or it's a way that people will talk about the bus. So it was
Hmm.
like a marketing exercise, but also like when you go to a restaurant, there's your wines, and then you have the crazy bottle of wine, and you think no one's ever going to order that.
It's exclusive. Yeah.
That's kind of, and then we put it on the menu. Day one, we sold one, and I was like, whoa, didn't expect that. And then yesterday, or day before Sunday, we sold one. So it's like, we're bearing in mind, I'm a food truck. I'm not a Michelin star restaurant. I'm not an exclusive dress up fancy place. I'm a food truck, and that's the reality. So I didn't think that it would sell. The ingredients they keep. So I was like, well, we're just going to test it. But essentially, it's a marketing exercise that people hopefully talk about us. And no, it's selling. So it's really, I'm really excited because it's delicious and it is expensive, and it's got gold leaf, so you feel super fancy.
Oh my God. I saw the social media and I was like, there's gold on this. This is
Gold
incredible.
leaf.
So I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons I want you to create this kind of recipe book or whatever, not even just for the recipes. I mean, I would love to try that. It's more about the photography and stuff. Your drinks are beautiful. Like,
Oh, thank
even if
you.
people just bought a book of photos to put on their own coffee table, it's like amazing to look at and it's inspirational to look at. And I saw the video, the little video. Your social media is fantastic, by the way. And I have one of my questions for you is who handles your social media? Is that you?
Me. And
Wow.
truth be told, it's normally I don't think I'm alone in saying this. I feel that 90% of business owners only get a quiet moment a few times a day when they're on the loo, and that's when they do their Instagram. And I challenge any small business owner to say that doesn't happen. So while you're looking at these videos, I'm having 5 minutes to myself on the loo.
Yeah. Yep. I mean,
I feel
no
like
one can deny that.
we've met each other 3 times now. We're at that stage of our friendship. We can talk about that.
No one can deny that. I mean, even if you said no, we know you're lying. So,
But I've had no experience with social media before I opened the bus. And when I did open the bus, I had loads of time because it was a pandemic, and I could watch entire Netflix films in between customers. And so I was able to get creative, but no one taught me, and I didn't research it. I just made it very, I don't know. The social media is exactly what it is in the bus. It's really like when you come in, like if you see a video of one of my staff members, Andrash, wearing a superhero outfit, running around with a cape, there's a pride flag. That happens. I didn't plan that. That happens. Or, Kinga, who makes the most amazing artwork on her face with makeup. It's not for show. This is the world of the bus. And so I just, what you see is what you get. And those drinks, they're not made specifically for a photograph. And they're all taken on my very old iPhone. Or by one of the staff have better phone than me and have a
Mm.
really good eye as well. So it does help to have the
Yeah,
make.
for people that aren't following you, follow you. You're a great follow. You're a fun follow.
Ah,
It's funny. I made the comment to my wife yesterday. I was like, going back to the happiness comment. And I was like, I know it's social media, and I know it's only bits and pieces of someone's life or whatever. It's like people just genuinely seem happy, especially in your social media. But just like I follow a lot of people from Iceland. Everyone seems just like happy or happier. Um, Iceland, I believe, is known as one of the happiest countries in the entire world, right?
yeah, it
And you're
is.
shaking your
Yeah,
head, yeah.
it's and voted number one on the Safe Index, I think, or top three or something on the Safe Index, like forever. It's always.
Well, in your experience, why is Iceland
Um,
happy?
I can only go from my personal experience. So when I lived in Australia, it was Melbourne. So it's a big, big city, lots of influences every day. You cross the road, there's different cafes you get influenced by, or clothing, or cars, or whatever your interests are. You have these subliminal marketing constantly, whether it's someone walking past you in the street or walking past a storefront. When you come to Iceland, especially when you come out of the capital city, there's nothing, there's just nature. And then when you live in Vic, there's one shop that sells clothes, and it's an outdoor shop. It's Icewear, so it's like you don't go there for anything. So you lose the options of walking around and just seeing things and those small things. And suddenly you're very small in a big environment. Whereas when you're in a city and you've got lots of friends and you've got lots of hobbies, you can be bigger in in your environment. Does this make any sense? Am I waffling a bit too much? I think basically nature's too big here, so it removes the human ego, and you just kind of chill out a bit living here. It comes with its challenges. I
Mm.
need a hot holiday every winter. Like when I say I need it, I need my bones to feel warm. I need to feel daylight. I need to feel like I can walk around in a t-shirt without layers on. But it's a safe country. I can't remember the last time I locked my car. Criminals get caught here because there's one road, so they just shut the road if something's
Mm.
happened. It's like, we'll close the road. No one can get anywhere. We haven't had a terrorist attack. The drug scene is small. The severe drug scene is very concentrated, in the city, and that is the way it is. You know, you get drugs everywhere, but Vik and towns in Iceland, it's just nice. It's just
Mm.
a very nice country to live in if you take away the weather.
Yeah, it just seems like life is simplified. You take away kind of all the over choices. I think we have too many
Yeah, yeah.
choices. Yeah.
It's simplified. It's complicated with regard to the weather because it does of course have an impact, and it's not just the hot, the cold. It's the wind and the snow, but you get that in many countries. But the can you hear my washing machine on spin? Do you want me to
No,
shut the door? Okay,
no, you
perfect.
are good. You are golden.
um, it is simple in regard to a lot of the things you would worry about in a busy cosmopolitan area. You just don't worry about here. It's nice. It's natural. It's a
And it,
natural environment, and I think it does bring people peace. Education's good. Healthcare is good. Um, the doctors, especially in Vic, they don't over pander. So if you go there with any complaint, they're quite like, well, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, I won't worry about it then. So it stops. Like Icelandic people remove the anxieties that other countries can kind of fill you with.
yeah.
In Melbourne, if you go to a doctor and you say, oh, my finger hurts, they'll say, have antidepressants. In here, if you go, my finger hurts, they go, oh, yeah, it'll stop hurting soon. It's a day. Okay.
I like that. I like that a
Yeah,
lot. Another
yeah.
thing I like about Iceland, it seems like you're all like connected. Like you all know each other. Like I follow you and you follow like all these other people that I've met through Iceland or in Iceland or I've had in my podcast. And it just seems like everyone's kind of friends with everybody. Am I right?
It's a weirdly small country. I mean, we have, if you count from settlement, the first person that stepped foot in Iceland to the person being born right now, and all of the people that have died in between, we still haven't reached 1 million. So we've got, and I think it's like 500,000 people in Iceland living
Hmm.
residents. So it is really small. And when I go to the city, I will never go to the city and not bump into someone I know, ever. Whatever
Well,
I'm
do they
doing.
all know you now? Are you kind of a celebrity on the island?
No, I'm not a celebrity at all.
Are
No.
you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I think the buses, the bus um has its own heartbeat, but the bus has been really supported by the big influencers in Iceland, and they've carried me through some really big challenges like the pandemic and
Hmm.
winter closures and things, and they've been the one that's helped me get me back started when I've opened. Our sustainer, you might have heard of her. She's one of Iceland's top, if not the top influencer. And she's an incredible businesswoman. She does Van Life Iceland.
I need you to introduce me. I'm aware.
Oh my goodness, she's absolutely fantastic and a very nice person. Her and her husband, and she, unknown to me, created this video about what to do for 72 hours in Iceland and included Skool Beans in it, which ended up on the videos on all Iceland Air flights.
I saw that. Awesome.
I could not believe it. I didn't know it happened. A customer came in, they said, "Oh, we saw you on the Iceland Air flight." And I was like, "What? I haven't been flying anywhere. What are you talking about? I've been working." And the video, and I was like, "What? Has anyone seen this video?" And I put a shout out on Instagram saying, "Has anyone seen this video?" And then people were sending me videos of them videoing it on the screens, and it was really, really fun.
That's
I've been
amazing.
very lucky. I definitely count my blessings when I think about um, how people have supported the bus. People like you know, it's
Yeah.
you're included in that. It's the fact that somebody came in, because there would have been lots more people listening to your podcast that have come in and haven't said anything,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
true.
the one or two that come in and go, "Oh, we heard you on the Pursuit of Happiness podcast."
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And I do know I've sent at least one, if not two people there personally. Hopefully they've said hi, or I don't know. I was like my wife's like family members, stuff like that. And I do know like I've got friends that are debating on going. I'm like, if you go, we got to go to School Beans. So there might be more people on the way. Hopefully
I hope
we're
so.
on the way with our son. Like it's come up numerous times out of Kristen's mouth this last month. We should go to Iceland. We should make a quick trip to Iceland and go check out some more area. I'm like, I'm never gonna say no to that. So
And I can set you up with some really nice places to visit that are popped up, and you know
yes,
where I
we
am.
will accept.
Yeah.
We are
But
100% in.
I love that, and congratulations to you and Christine on Brooks as well.
Thank you. I
How is
appreciate that.
how is daddying life? I know this is not. I should interview you now. How is life as a father? A few months in.
It's good. It's different. I think it's we are about 4.5 months in, almost 5 months in. Jeez. I would say it's still an adjustment. It's still a learning period of like what of like my previous life I can still kind of maintain versus like what I need to kind of put aside for now and the sacrifices to make for him and priority list and where things fall and like do I just wake up earlier and take care of things and stuff like that.
You sound
It's
like a small business owner.
yeah.
What do I do?
So being a dad is like a small
It's
business.
small business, but it maybe doesn't make you money at the moment until
Right.
they
No, he
get
cost me money, that's for sure.
Do
He
you
starts daycare in
try
2 weeks.
in winter? Do you think you will try the Icelandic way of acclimatizing a baby? And I'm not sure what you're living, where you live, and what your surroundings are. But in Iceland, and it is different wherever you go in the countries, you'll be walking down the streets and you'll just see prams outside. And there'll be a blizzard, like snow, wind, and there'll be prams outside with just babies fast asleep, bundled up in there.
That's
That's
amazing. I
oh yeah.
don't think my wife will allow that.
No, maybe not. Maybe only in Iceland. Try that.
If we're in Iceland, got to do it.
Well,
We're
you don't recommend
actually
this for anyone else outside of Iceland or
so
Norway.
we're taking a family trip up to Montreal and Quebec to go see the Christmas markets in December. So
Oh,
we might get some of that weather, whether we
yeah.
like it or not. And he's gonna be bundled up, and we'll see how that goes. So
You know what they
that
do really badly here is Christmas markets. And again, that's because the weather is so rubbish with the wind. So
yeah.
it's like limited. But oh, I love a good Christmas market. But I will fly to Copenhagen to go there and see them. I'll phone up my parents and like, hey,
Oh, that's
I'm going to
amazing.
Copenhagen for Christmas markets. Do you want to come? And they're like, yeah. So we all get flights there.
So I've
And it's
never been to a Christmas market, and going to Europe with him, I think is a little dicey when he's only 9 months old. So I was like, you know what, let's go to a closer one. I've heard really good things about Montreal and Quebec. So it's
yeah.
decently close, a couple hours on the flight, and we'll see how it goes. If he love that, which I imagine, we'll go to Europe in a year or two when he's older. So
Oh, I
I'm
love
excited
that.
about that. I
That is
want
interesting.
I want to hit back. This is me interviewing you, ma'am.
Oh, how the tables have turned. I'm too
I
familiar.
like
I'm
it though. I
sorry.
appreciate it. Back to kind of happiness, what you're talking about with your journey in Iceland being happy. One of the questions I have for you is what's made you the happiest along this journey and starting and owning School Beans? And I did a solo episode. I just released it today actually about one thing I'm noticing. Don't copy this answer if it doesn't
That's
apply to
okay.
you, but one thing I've noticed with a lot of my episodes and the people that I talk to that are genuinely happy is a lot of people just took a chance on themselves and they chased their dreams and their goals even when they didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And that kind of reminded me of you. You know, you were born in Australia and here you are now in Iceland with a freaking school bus that sells coffee in Vic. And you can't even pronounce the towns that are around you. Like, I can only imagine the amount of stress and anxiety that you've had over all this time. And you got the pandemic and all that stuff. But you are genuinely happy.
Yeah.
Iceland is a genuinely happy place. So looking back on your journey, what would you say has, was kind of like that point where, I don't know, you just became like the happiest?
Oh, well, it kind of goes with. So I was actually born in the UK and then I moved to Australia.
That's right.
And that, so with the business or in my life?
Let's go with the business because yeah, people
Okay.
know you from School Beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it does tie in because when I had a big career in the UK and then I took a career break, and again, you'll have to listen to episode one to find out the
118 people, 118.
118. And yes, sorry, not episode one, until 118. And when I left my career, it was the most scared I've ever been, which really makes me a very lucky person if that's the biggest fear I've ever experienced. My career, I had lots of, I was in the police for 10 years. And so you of course experience the best and worst of humankind,
Hmm.
more often not unfortunately the worst. So when I got on the plane, and my first stop was Russia, and I had no plans after that. I was so scared of what I was stepping into in the world of the unknown that really that set me up for going, well, nothing bad has happened now. And I traveled, and I traveled thriftily. If I arrived on a bus at 4 in the morning, I was not paying for a hostel. I was sleeping on the bench outside the hostel. So I didn't get
Wow.
charged for 2 nights, until I didn't want to spend money. So and I never touch wood. I never experienced anything awful. It really gave me faith in humankind. But what that did is build me strength to back myself and back my judgment and back my instinct. And when I opened the business, it was during the pandemic, so it was really scary. And so I was thinking, oh, did I do the right thing? And it was the minute the bus developed its own personality. So there's me, the business owner, and then there's Skool Beans. And they're, although I created Skool Beans and I've made it what it is, they're now completely separate entities. So it's like everybody knows Skool Beans, they don't know me. And when that division happened, when I could take a week away and leave my staff in there who understood what it meant to me and understood how to engage with the customers, then I was like, I have done it. I have actually done it. I've separated myself from the business. The business has its own personality and its own thing, magicness. And I was really happy, not because I could take a week off, that was scary. But just that it's like, I don't know, it's I can't describe it. It was the first feeling of true success in the business. But my happiest point, because starting your own business is stressful, no matter how small it is, whether you are at home making lip balms to sell to one shop or whether you are running a multi-million-dollar industry, each one has its own relative stress. And there's been nights of zero sleep, and not exactly what was not comparing my business to your child, but waking up at 4 in the morning just to catch up on things to start the next day.
Yeah.
And um, but reducing the hours of the business to give me some relief has brought me this season so much joy, genuine. Like, I've got the work-life balance, I've got it. How lucky am I? 4 years into a small business, having gone through pandemics, I have 3 full-time members of staff, several part-time members of staff. I'm considered a full-time member of staff, and I've got a work-life balance. That's crazy.
It's
How
amazing.
yeah, it's really, really
What
cool.
makes work-life balance? Because you could have the day off, but you're still anxious or working on things. So what are you doing with your time that's giving you balance?
So now I have 2 days off Mondays and Tuesdays we're closed, which is the first season we're trialing it. And as I said, financially it's scary, but it's really good for me. And I used to just have Mondays off. And that Monday I would start work normally 7 in the morning and I wouldn't finish till 8, 9 o'clock at night. And it was all of the background work, making jewelry, making soaps, roasting, marketing, you name it, all the business stuff, the paperwork, the admin, finances, ordering. And then I would go back to work the next day. And then in the evening, you're doing all the emails and catching up because I get a lot of emails. I do a lot of online orders and things. So it's just making sure all of that's done, packaging stuff, and my table stacked up full of cups now, which all need all need sending.
Yeah, that's great.
um, and so now I dedicate one day of the two to work, and as if that is my only day. That's my do or die day. And then the second day, I try to be really strict and I have a complete day off. I don't answer my phone. I don't answer emails. So I'm sorry to anyone that doesn't get an answer from me. And I also started doing in the evenings in the week, even when the bus is open, I started doing like fitness related things. I actually started Kung Fu, which was really fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm
That's
rubbish,
great.
but I started it and it's hard, it's really hard. And aerial silks, I guess maybe I'm having a midlife crisis.
Well, you're challenging yourself. I appreciate that. That's
I'm
amazing.
hurting myself. I don't know about that. But yeah, they start these. It's a funny town full of really ridiculous and eclectic talents. And we had a kung fu trainer and an aerial silk trainer. And I was like, yes, I will do it. So the work-life balance is doing something for me, working hard in the business and resting and giving my partner devoted time, because until this season, I basically, he was in the background. And it wasn't deliberate and it wasn't conscious. But when I was with him, I was constantly thinking about work or doing work. And this year, he's got me back. It's hilarious. I don't know if he likes it or not. He keeps taking on more work, so maybe he doesn't like it.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so I think there's the work-life balance. It's having stuff for me, including, giving my partner time and being able to enjoy work. Yeah.
And I know Skool Beans is known for its coffee, but it's not just coffee. As you just mentioned, there's a lot of crafts, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
candles, jewelry, artwork. What else do you sell? And are you the artist behind that, or is it numerous artists?
So I support a lot of local artists. So we have one girl who knits these little mini lopapesas, which are the Icelandic sweater key rings. She knits those. Another couple who are just about to have a baby. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for them. They're just a dream couple. K&K Wood Art. They do lots of really nice wood wood art, wood carvings and burns and stuff. My friend Hilary, who owns a company called Fiara Creative, she's a one-woman band. She's an incredible graphic designer and artist. She does a lot of the postcards. She designed the menu front and the iconic sort of Jeffrey in the Viking hat design. And then I do a lot of it myself. I make the soaps, I make the jewelry, and all the designs for the merchandise, with the exception of the Viking Jeffrey. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Make the hummus, create the drinks. Don't worry about
It's a
sleep.
lot. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work. What would you say? I'm just genuinely curious, out of your profits, how much is coffee compared to like the candles and stuff like that? And you said now you're sending stuff, right, through the mail?
Yeah, I've always done that. And it's quite funny because I always like to decorate the boxes that I send in. So they always come with little doodles all over them.
That's amazing.
The post office finds it quite insane. It's roughly around 50%.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
It's if I was to not have it, I would still need the same amount of staff because people would still be ordering the coffees, and I would make half the profits.
Wow.
But it takes a lot of time to source and stock. And you have to really factor in. You can't order small quantities because like of the merchandise, because otherwise it would cost so much.
Yeah.
But also on the ceramics, I do a lot of really nice small ceramic cups that are relevant to the towns. There's one that looks like a volcano, one that's like mossy, like the mossy mountain. They're all inspired by Vik. And I work with Japanese artists. with those. So it takes blood, sweat, and tears to research, try not to sell what other places do. And actually, I don't put anything in the bus that I wouldn't want. Because if I wouldn't buy it, I can't expect anyone else to buy it. And I think I've got okay taste. My glasses and jumper, maybe not so much, but
Very
interior,
unique. Unique. I
yes.
will say I saw the mug when I was researching for this podcast. I saw the mug the other day that was kind of based off the basalt columns. I thought it was super cool. Are those all sold
Yeah.
out?
No, and I can only get them in like 20 or 30 at a time. They do sell quite fast, but I've just this last couple of weeks got another delivery in. I can
Those
send
are
you a mug.
cool. Yeah. Those are
Text
super
me your address.
cool.
Text me your
Uh,
address afterwards, and it can be my gift from me to you.
well, I'm happy to pay for shipping. I'm sure it's not cheap
Oh,
from
brilliant.
Iceland, but yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful mug. And your art and artwork and everything you do on that bus is it's amazing. It's really cool that you have not just coffee, but all that, and you support local artists.
Yeah.
It's funny. I everywhere we go, my wife and I, everywhere we travel, we get a Christmas ornament, and so every time we decorate the Christmas tree, we put them up, and we're like, "Hey, remember this time?" And we got
It's
memories now
not
for
exactly the
years.
same.
The same thing, and
Yeah,
from
exactly the same. Magnet and a Christmas
a
decoration.
magnet, yeah, same
Yeah.
exact thing. I'll have to send you a picture of my fridge. It's funny. Um, we got one. My favorite ornament is from Iceland. It's the little sweater that we hang from our Christmas tree. And I wonder if it's the artist. I don't know if she does Christmas
I
ornaments.
mean, if you got it in the bus, oh no, so it's an actual Christmas tree sweater.
It's a sweater with like a hook, and I do want to say it was in Vik. I could be wrong. I want to say it was either Vik or Reykjavik that we got the
If it was
ornament.
Vig, it would have either been Sana, because at that time I'd only seen them from a girl called Sana, and but now Sana is incredibly busy.
Hmm.
So another girl called Elena, she does them, but they've only ever done key rings, so maybe it
Okay.
was some, it's quite a nice. So basically, people who knit lopapezes, if they have any leftover wool, rather than just throw it away, they make these little mini lopapezes.
That
And
makes so what oh, so that sweater is called a what?
lopapeza.
I had no idea.
Easy. Lopapeza. It's honestly, if you come to Iceland in the bleakest of winter, you can spot an Icelander just by the fact that they're not wearing all these technical jackets and
Yeah.
technical wear. They've got a hat, a lopapeza, and they've probably got a thermal layer underneath it. It is the warmest. If anyone's coming to Iceland and they actually want a really genuinely good piece of warm weather clothing, invest in a lopapeza. They cost so much, but they'll last forever. You can actually wash them. But if you go to a second-hand store, there's always some there. And most of mine are knitted for me by my partner's mum. We call them mamus.
That's a
And
great tip.
yeah, she knits them for me. She's amazing at them. But this other ones I have bought have been from second-hand stores, because it's normally retired ladies
Hmm.
that knit them and donate them to the store. So they're brand new,
Hmm.
but they're really good.
Yeah, they're super cool too. I mean, they're very like genuine and authentic to Iceland. You only see I saw them in just a couple of stores, honestly. I didn't see them like everywhere. So,
Yeah, you got to be careful. It's got to say made in Iceland, not designed in Iceland. If it's designed in Iceland, it's not made in Iceland. If it's made in Iceland or it hasn't got a label on it, it's been hand knitted. But imagine, like, if I was a kid and my great aunt knitted me one of those, I'd be devastated. But now I'm like, yes, I want a
right.
cat all over mine. Yes, I want this. Yes, I want that. Anything that you would hate as a child, I love right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you're thinking of going to Iceland and you want to get something that's authentic to Iceland, you got to get one of those sweaters. I just call them a
Absolutely.
sweater.
Sweater. Get yourself a sweater.
And I
Yeah.
I know so something I noticed on your social media as well is you were in Italian Lifegate magazine. So you were getting publicity all over. School Beans is blowing up. What happened here?
Um, oh, well, gosh. So I have been really lucky. I've been in a lot of magazines and a lot of print magazines and online magazines. And normally I'll get an email that says we want to do an article, and it's from a freelance journalist. We don't know where it's going to go. And this particular journalist knew that this is where she wanted to submit it to, but I didn't know if it would, because for me, I live and breathe this. And because when you live and breathe the business, you see it from your own perspective. I don't see it now from the eyes of someone stepping in for the first time.
Hmm.
Um, And when I get these interview questions, it really puts me back in the eyes of the beholder. And it's so nice for me to experience that. But that was a very, very special publication. I was really excited to be in that magazine. I've even had just scrap bits of paper handed to me when it's been really busy saying we want to do an article on you. Can you contact us? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love doing interviews. I love doing things like this. I love writing interviews for magazines. I find it's so rewarding, and it definitely grounds me and really makes me think, God, I've done something really nice, and I'm really happy that people love it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
very
yeah.
rewarding.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I had to contact you for the podcast. It's kind of like the same ballpark. I just want to have a conversation with the owner who started this, why, and you were so friendly as soon as we walked on the bus. I was like, there's a story behind this, and I got to learn a lot more. I mean, like I said, we found out about Skool Beans just because, like, just doing research in Iceland, where to go, and you were in like every list. Got to go to Skool Beans. Got to go to Skool Beans, and it's only getting bigger and bigger from here, and that's super
I
exciting.
never
And
thought it would happen.
oh, it's amazing.
When I opened the bus, I thought I'd be one of those coffee shops that people would go in, maybe spend a few hours on their laptop and go again. It would just be me. I wouldn't need any staff. And I had no idea what would happen. No idea. Didn't plan it, didn't want it. I actually had to grieve. And I think grieve is the right word. What it was, I thought I was opening like as. And then suddenly it became queues out the door and queues out the window. And sometimes people have to wait. But what we don't want to do is rush to the point that people get a really bad quality drink. So yeah, if you're waiting, we're working. That's all we
Mm,
kind of want people to understand is we're not sitting on our phone. We're not sitting around talking about the weekend. We're literally pedal to the metal, barely having a conversation, getting it done. But I'd never expected it to be that way. When we have those quiet moments, though, it's so nice to have that engagement with the customers in there and tell our story if they ask the question and find out what they're up to. So
yeah.
nice to what people are doing in Iceland. It's and what their experience is as well.
Well, if someone is coming to your Skool Beans and they're on their laptop, they're doing it wrong. Turn the computer off, get off the
Yes.
screen, enjoy being present in the moment. And with
Yeah.
what you just said, would you say like the vast majority of people that come and see you, are they from out of town? Are they tourists, or do people that live there come and go
Yeah, I mean,
often?
Beak is a very small town, and most of Beak they're working really hard during this season. So yeah, we do get a lot of locals that come in, and I've been really supported by locals. And we have the locals that they don't even need to say anything. We just know what they're having.
Yeah.
They don't even need to come in the bus. They toot their horn, and we know exactly. We have a guy called we call him Mocha Yon. His name's Yon, and he orders a mocha, so we just call him Mocha Yon. Now outside of the bus, he'll say, "Hey, it's my Mocha Yon." That's his name, Mocha Yon.
Okay, Jan.
And I do have that, but yeah, I would say because the size of the town, realistically, 90% of are foreign or tourists or people out of town. But we have also our locals from within Iceland as well, who whenever they're in Vik will only ever come to us, and
Awesome.
that's really nice. Yeah, and the guides, if they drop their coach load of customers off, because we have 10 seats, we're a small place, we can't have a 50-seater coach put up. But the coach will drop them off at a cafe where they cater towards mass sort of groups, and then the driver will come and see us. So we
That's
do get the
great.
coach coming, but we look at it with horror. Then we see it's just a driver in there, so he comes out.
And something I'm dying to ask you is I saw a few months ago. What's that?
Don't die. Ask me.
No, no, no. Yes, yeah. But I've been waiting to ask you about this. Is I saw that reel that you posted on social media about the quote unquote unrobbery. I remember watching and I was like, hold on a second. My heart almost dropped because I saw people with masks come to your place. What looked like to be weapons, if you're just
It was.
glancing real quick, it was a weapon. Yeah, right. And it was like, don't even tell me Skool Beans got robbed. But then I was like, okay, I got my composure and I started to read the caption. I was like, an unrobbery. Tell me more. So I'm gonna let you explain exactly
Oh,
what happened here because this
so
looked incredible.
so yeah, obviously I ugly face cried when this happened with Joy. Um, there's a regular customer that's been coming in from day one called Robert. In fact, there's two Roberts. He's Robert one, and there's another Robert two. And Robert won, and we started playing practical jokes on each other. As simple as when I see his car, I get in and I pull the seat forward, lean the seat forward and turn the radio up fully. That's just silly things. And so we started this prank war. Now, my pranks are kind of mean, like fake dog poo on the car seat and that, pushing the car seat forward and that kind of thing. And his pranks are like so kind. So I always feel really bad. So on this day, we just had a massive day, a mega, mega day. And I see this van pull up and there's unmarked van and four people come out with weapons and wearing masks. And I was like, what is going on? And they were silent. They didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, one of them is holding a bar in my direction. And so I was like, right, I think we're being robbed, but I don't know. I'll grab a weapon. And the weapon I grabbed was a pen with an electrical button on it, which I was going to use to prank Robert with. I don't know why. I was like, I'll get them with my electrical pen. It's not a laser, it's a joke shop pen. So anyway, I'm stood there. I'm like, okay, I can protect my staff with my electrical pen from these four unmarked, these masked robbers. And then I was like, this is Vic, re-rational Holly. And then I was like, I recognize those legs. That's definitely Teresa, the aerial silks instructor that I see every week. Surely she's, not that hard up. She needs to rob me. And then they start removing all the benches from the front of the bus. And by that time, I thought, okay, I know it's Teresa. I'm in Vic. Everybody calm down. We're not being robbed, but something weird is happening. At that point, Elsa Steiner, Iceland's #1 influencer or businesswoman, I don't know how, maybe she's #1, I don't know, big time influencer, is there as well. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, but I think I'm being robbed, but I think it's a good thing. I'm not sure. So
Being robbed, which is a good thing.
all four of them are not saying anything. Our sustainer is there. My stuff have come out. I've got my electrical pen and my benches are all being removed. And I was like, this is strange. Then they go to the van again, pull out garden tools like a rake and spades, and they start clearing the area where the benches were. And then they go back to the van and they pull out a massive roll of astroturf or fake grass, which is expensive. Iceland's expensive. And they lay that down. So I thought, oh, they've got me grass. Thought that would be the end of it. They're going to put my benches back, which, by the way, had completely fallen apart when they were pulling them away. So I was like, oh, that's awkward. They've broken my benches, but never mind. I've got AstroTurf so people can picnic. And then they go back into this van and they pull out 4 brand new, handmade, freshly painted benches for outside of the bus. And they said not one word. They did this a really time-consuming thing for people that work full-time to hand make 4 benches strong enough for customers and a center table with a bin hole in it, all painted. The cost involved in that and the generosity and time was just unbelievable. And then at the end, they took their masks off, and it was the Robert 1, Robert 2, Teresa, and Stavros, who's the Kung Fu teacher. And I was like, this is amazing. And I turned to Robert and I said, guys, I've got to get you to sign this. So I handed him the pen, to which he electrocuted himself on. So I managed to.
You got him anyway.
Yes. But yeah, we were unrobbed. And it's not the first time that's happened. We've gone to the bus before and damage that's been caused has been repaired. Like someone had a barbecue on the benches once, and then I just got a video from the guys that run the wood art company. They just sent me a video, and the video was of the bin bench, and then they clicked their fingers in front of the camera, and then it was fixed. And it was just like, what? People just do these nice things. They leave painted rocks outside of the bus with these beautiful messages on, and I don't know, it's a really a space that just brings out the good in people. I love it.
I
I've
love
never
it.
experienced that before. I got a postcard through the other day. Shout out to Kate and Will, not the Royals, they're from Colorado, who sent a postcard just to say happy birthday, School Beans. They visited the bus. I mean, I've never sent a postcard to a cafe. Isn't that amazing? Oh,
You're doing something good. I mean, when the community comes together like that, puts all those man hours and finances and everything into helping your business, you're doing something really good for not just you, but for the community, and you bring people
Yeah.
together. I mean, how can that not just like warm your heart and give you a little bit of
Oh,
faith in humanity these days?
it really does. In fact, living in Vik, there's good and bad because it can be quite cutthroat with regard to business here because there's not very many
Mhm.
business owners, and so that
Yeah.
can be quite hard. But living in Vik, I definitely think I've seen the better of humanity in small communities. It's a transient community too. Most people leave, they work here for one season and go. So it's really hard to form close friendships here for those when you know they're only going to be here for a few months. When you've lived here, you create a natural barrier of your heart.
Mm.
But this season in particular has been amazing. And I repaid the favor by electrocuting him with my practical pen. How awful am I?
I'm so happy to have the story behind that because, like I said, my heart dropped and I was like, "Oh my God, school beans get robbed." And then like I said, I started to read the caption. I was like, "There's no way this would be posted if that were the case too. What's going on here?" And I did a little more research and I kept reading and watching. I was like, "Wow, that's just like absolutely incredible. Brings a tear to your eye."
Yeah, it did.
I,
It made me really cry.
so
Oh.
so incredible. That's so amazing. And I want to touch on something that I probably you can say failed to mention in our first episode. Is it Sir Jafarius? How I want we need to pronounce that correctly. And
Yes.
tell me all about the three-legged cat that is everywhere.
So, full name Sir Jafarius Edwardius the First of Veek is the name of my cat, who you can call Jeff. Most people just call Jeff. My ginger. Uh, let's see. He's lying on his
So he
position.
lives with you.
Yeah, yeah. He's here. He is.
There
Showing
he
us.
is.
Here he is. Having a little stretch.
Got the
Ah.
life.
Um, he. I ended up he's a secondhand cat, rescue cat, and I like my secondhand stuff. And I got him when he was about 4, and he gives me zero love, ignores everybody, bites people, just generally like orange cat behavior. And he when I opened the bus, first day of opening, I was closing for the day, and Jeff was outside, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then he just started following me to work every day. He was part of the bus. And then he really set up home in the bus. Like, he had his place next to the fire. We would put a chair there with a blanket, and that was his spot. People would come in and he'd be surrounded by photographers. And I'm like, it's just a cat sitting on a table. But anyway, people love him because he gives them nothing. He just gives them absolutely nothing. And I think it's that, treat them mean to keep them keen mentality that people have. And he's got it down to a T. And then in 2021, big pandemic time, zero customers. Johannes had just bought this house. I've got a business in the pandemic, so I'm making no money whatsoever. Jeff decides to get into a big fight with a cat, and his leg ends up broken, completely shattered. It is a Sunday, it's a storm, and we drive. It takes us about 4 hours to get to the vet. And they say he's broken his leg. I'm like, okay, no problem. And I said to Johannes, this is going to be close to 1,000,000 krona, which is like 5 or 6,000 US dollars, I
Ooh.
think. And at that time, like I had nothing, and Johannes had just bought his first house. He had nothing, and it's like, right, we've got 2 options here: get into debt. And the third option was never an option. I was not going to put him down unless absolutely he was never going to survive the injury, which he could have done. And somebody suggested start a crowdfunder, because I had to close the bus for a few days. So I announced why. I was like, I'm really sorry I had to close the bus. Jeffrey's broken his leg. Not quite sure how long it's going to take, but we had to stay in the city for a few days. And then the vet basically said it's going to be around this much, which was around $5,000 or $6,000. And I was like, I can't afford that, but I can't just put him down. So we started a crowdfunder, only on Skool Beans social media with GoFundMe. And from all corners of the world, people were donating. And I had this daily blog up and videos, and like on the GoFundMe, I would do daily updates. We would post receipts. It wasn't really a groveling one, but more of a comedy sketch, like the whole thing, because the whole experience was comedic. We're in storms, 4 hours from the vet, having to go to and from the city. He's coming back here with a carrot leg because he's got an orange bandage on. And it was just ridiculous. Our life was ridiculous. And we raised all of the money we needed to get him 3 surgeries, amputation, aftercare, within 2 weeks. It was amazing. And so now he lives his 3-legged life. Still costs me loads of money. He's allergic to everything. He's got to have special injections every month. And
You wouldn't
yeah,
have it any other way. I know that as a pet owner, you wouldn't.
I just love him so much, but he just gives me nothing.
That's
But yeah,
an well, he gave you an amazing story. I mean, oh my God, if these last few stories that you've shared are evidence that people absolutely love you and what you've done and what School Beans means, wow.
I think Jeff has been a huge part of the success of the business, though, because during the pandemic, when people wanted joyful stories, there'd be all these funny videos of Jeff ignoring people or like pushing people's hand away from them. And, people really gravitated towards the fact that there was this funny, weird place. And then when people travel, they miss their pets. I know I do, and I'm
Yeah.
sure
Mhm.
anyone that has pets does. And he did used to be much more sociable before he lost his leg, but now he's just grumpy and unsociable. But people know that they're going to be ignored because we don't make light of the fact that he is really obnoxious and ignores everybody. And they'll come in and they're like, "Oh, just got ignored by Jeff." I'm like, "Oh, congratulations." And they're like,
You
"I'm going
got
to
the
buy a
treatment.
cup." I'm like, "All right." And we had our fastest seller was a cup that said, "I've been ignored by Jeff Arias from Skool Beans." And we would sell 10 a day, like every day, 10 a day, 10 a day. And then he started to get all of these illnesses and allergies, and he's got a blood condition. And I was like, oh, I have to order so many of these cups to get the price down.
Mm.
And I didn't want to invest so much in Jafarius just in case he popped his clogs. But he's not going to. He's still alive, but now it's just Viking Jeff.
Where can people buy this? So we've talked about like online the things that you sell. Where can people buy this stuff?
A lot of the stuff is exclusive to Skool Beans. So if you see it on social media, I can send it anywhere around the world. But I did start a Redbubble store, which is an online selling platform where the seller, so I make almost no money from it. But one thing I love is it's a really like low carbon footprint way to get your merchandise. So for instance, if you were to order a t-shirt and there's like 15 designs that you can choose from of different graphics, if you were to order a t-shirt from the States, it gets manufactured in the States and sent to you from there. So the printing and the postage is from the States. So all of the money goes towards Redbubble and the person providing the t-shirt and the print. And I get like it's like if something's $14, I might get 30 cents or something for it. But it
Oh,
doesn't
geez.
matter. It's like people always want to buy clothing and we can't provide that because the bus doesn't allow for that space. So there's a lot of stuff you can get on Redbubble, but some of the stuff is exclusive to the bus,
Mm.
like the Sonics and yeah, the merchandise.
Is
Yeah.
Redbubble? Now, I want to go all the way back to the beginning. You said you were starting a new business. Is that and what's going on with this new business?
So I can't say too much because
Oh,
I know because it's in its testing phases. But basically, the coffee and chocolate industry is now quite a volatile industry. And I don't know if we touched on it last time, but sustainability and ethical farming and ethical sourced materials is really important to me. So that's why drinks do cost a little bit more at Skool Beans, only by like 50 krona, which is like for 30 cents or something, because I pay for really expensive ingredients. But my coffee beans have gone up 400% in 2 years. 400%. Yeah.
wow.
And
Wow.
chocolate has just over doubled in price. Literally overnight, the supplier said, well, we're putting the price up double. And so a place like Skool Beans is naturally going to have a shelf life because of the economic impact. Environmental impact caused bad crops. Bad crops mean no availability. Reduced availability means price goes up. And there's also the political issues around some of those areas as well, that you just need to make sure that an ethical farm remains ethical and it's not bought out by gangs, I guess, to keep it simple. So I am essentially starting a second business, which is not related whatsoever. It's a cosmetics line that is fully organic, vegan, and natural. But it's a bit more complex than that. there's a little bit more about it, which maybe we can do a third episode.
Why not?
We've definitely got to have a jingle if we're going to do a third episode.
Why
I mean,
not? Come back.
So that is in the testing phases. I just won two grants actually. Iceland are big on people starting their own businesses, and they really support you as long as you put an amount of money in that matches the amount of money they can give you. Then they really help you. So essentially, the money that I've got available, they double. So I won two grants, and I have made 2 trips to different seed farms and oil facilities. And yeah, and I'm of course going to use my friend Hillary for the creative work.
Amazing.
As if I haven't got enough to do, I thought I'd start another business.
Work-life balance is just out the window.
Who needs that? I know I talked about it.
That was nice for a couple of days.
Yeah, Hannes will be really happy when I get busy again.
Right? Your relationship needs this. You need to get busy.
My relationship needs this. So yeah, that's in its infancy. I've been sent a few samples for the scent. And it is, there's a bigger purpose behind it, and I don't want to say too much at the moment because now
then
I've
hold
learned.
on to it. Then hold on to it. Then
yeah,
come back.
I will
Come back.
hold on because it is quite innovative at the moment. Maybe tomorrow someone will do it, but let's come reduce that chance.
Well, I have a feeling you'll succeed with this too, and everyone's going to fall in love with it, and everyone will support you doing this. I'm sure it's
removal from Skool Beans. No one would connect the two unless they listen to this podcast. This is the first like public speaking I've done about it. That's my England is not so good today. Where I've kind of you connecting Skool Beans to this.
Well, I'm honored. Is this something you can sell? Can you sell this on the Skool Beans bus?
I probably won't because it's going to be a very nice fancy product. Fancy.
Well, what if people like you and they're like, hey, I want to support you in your business?
Yeah, I guess so. Otherwise, there'll be stores in the city and hopefully the Nordic and Scandinavian countries that they'll be able to, maybe even the airport. That's my sort of goal, is to get it in the airport stores. And that's then the ticket to see sort of where it goes. Because you can also get stats when they scan the boarding pass. You can get stats of where they're flying to.
Oh, that's great.
So you can get a really good market in like research.
You know what you're doing. Holly's you're a natural born businesswoman.
I'm smart. I am. Not often.
That is awesome. Well, what's next? So we kind of have an idea of what's kind of going on next for you there. What's next for Skool Beans? Is there more drinks you're toying with? Is there anything you want to announce about Skool Beans?
Yeah, I think next year I want to bring back a couple of elements that I had in the first season, which hello Jeffrey, which failed because didn't fail. The ingredients had limited shelf life. So I took them off because it was just too quiet because of this. I keep mentioning this pandemic. We want to forget about it because of, that thing. And obviously, if you are a big researcher of sustainable and ethical farming and footprints that you leave, you may have heard that the insect farming industry is really carbon friendly. So insects create an enormous amount of protein. They require a much smaller space. It has to be organic. It has to be pesticide free because they have to live in a natural environment, and they don't live long lives. So it's not like you're taking a baby. It's kind of the retirees. I'm a vegetarian, like born and raised vegetarian my whole life. But the insect farming industry from a carbon footprint is really, really good for our world. So season 1, I did a drink called Cricket Matcha, which was cricket powder with rooibos matcha and steamed with rice milk, which are all really sustainable plants. So the rooibos is a really fast growing. Rice milk is obviously much more sustainable than your dairy farming, and insect powder or cricket powder is a protein rich sauce with a very small carbon footprint. And it was served with chocolate covered crickets on the side of a spoon. And that was a really popular drink for people who wanted to try something really unique. And the flavor was hidden amongst the rooibos and amongst the rice milk, but you had that kind of really healthy, luxurious drink. And I think I want to bring insects back because from what I know And from the research I've done, I did do a lot. I was the first in Iceland to bring insects to a menu. And I think I will still be the first if I do it next season, if no one's done it since then.
Wow.
And I think it's a really important way for our farming to go, part of our farming to go down is to focus on the insect farming, because it forces us to actually look after the land as well, because you can't destroy all these lands with these pesticides and everything else. It's forcing you to go, we need rich soil, rich living environments, rich, green, pesticide free and organic. So it's like, to make a high protein, sustainable choice, insect farming has been the way to go for a long time. It's just, there's a stigma with it. People get nervous about it. But
Right.
people want a big tub of protein powder, which has got God knows what in, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff. You can't read the ingredients, don't drink it. That's the rule, isn't it? Whereas you get
Mm-hmm.
insect powder and the protein level is so much higher than this big tub, and it's got one ingredient. And yeah, get on it. Try that. Try that stuff. Get yourself the pump at the gym with your crickets. Yeah.
So
Try the
either I'm coming back to Iceland to try this, or you're gonna actually make that ingredient cookbook so I can actually make it myself.
Yeah, okay.
I don't even know how I would make that. So I'm not making cricket powder, but
No, you can buy cricket powder.
oh,
It's
you
a
can. Okay.
ingredient.
Okay.
Yeah, it's if do you take protein powder or anything
I
like
do.
that?
I do.
All right. Okay, I'm writing it down. All right, you need to text me your address,
Okay.
and I will be sending you some goodies. And one of them is going to be cricket powder. You lucky, lucky thing.
I will try it. I will try anything, especially from Holly. I will definitely try that. I've had your
I can't
drinks. They're
promise it
delicious.
tastes nice, but but it's good for you. It's like Brussels sprouts. Got to
I
eat them
love
because
Brussels sprouts. I'm in.
oh,
I'm all in. So I have another random question for you. Is you living on Iceland? I've been there a few times. It is a magical place for anybody who hasn't gone to Iceland or is thinking about going to Iceland. It's incredible. I've done numerous podcasts now in Iceland and my connections there. It's a wonderful place. I would go back a third time, and I really want to. What's Holly's favorite place on the island to go to? What's your top place or top one or two places that's just like if you had a day off and you want to get away, where are you going?
well, it depends what you're into. If you love the water and want to see whales, Dalvik, Husavik, which is at the north, absolutely. But obviously, that's if you're in that area. If you want to see Europe's not largest national park and the glaciers, Vatnajökull National Park, you want to go east, and that's just endless glacier hikes. You've got your glacier lagoon, Jökulsárlón, Black Diamond Beach, very very cool. If you want hikes, this area is the main one to go to. So you've got areas like Thakil, you've got the local hikes here. Whether you want mountain or flat, you've got the options. Slightly further west, you've got Lamanadalga and Thorsmork. If you can say all these names at the end of it, I'll be very impressed. And they're amazing. You've got the Rainbow Mountains and whatnot. So it really depends what you're into. If you want more of a city life, then stay in Reykjavik, go to the Icelandic lava show, where you can experience real lava being poured into a room full of people. It's fine. And you've also got the Perla Museum, which has got like a man-made ice cave and different information about the nature in Iceland. It's like an all-encompassing museum. And you've got the Aurora Museum in the city, which is
Mm-hmm.
really nice. If you're here in the summer and you're like, man, I wish I could see the Aurora, but it's 24-hour daylight, definitely go to the Aurora Museum. The owners are absolutely lovely. They're so nice, so passionate, amazing photographers. If you're here in the winter, they do Aurora hunting tours as well. So there's something for everybody, whether you like city, nature, waterfalls, hiking, wildlife. A great season to come is June to mid-July, because it's lupin season. So there's
Mm-hmm.
just endless fields of purple flowers. Did you come in June, or were you
No, we came April.
April? So you would have been just before lupin season.
Yeah, we did the ice caves with Ryan Newburn. We wanted to really do the ice caves, so that was pretty
Oh,
incredible.
yes, yes. I know Ryan.
Yeah, I know. You guys know everybody.
He started Ice Pick Journeys.
Yes,
They're
exactly. I had him on
doing
my podcast. No?
My goodness, I should listen to that one. I didn't realize that. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. I will listen to
Yeah.
it afterwards. But yeah, now is good because we've got puffins. And only a few days ago, I walked to the beach, which is about, it takes me about maybe like 45 seconds to get to the beach from the house. And there are two humpback whales in the sea right in front of me.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's lots to do here.
What is your favorite thing to do? What do you, where of all those locations or even a different location, where do you like to
Well,
go?
for me, I love hiking and I love climbing those mountains
Yeah.
and taking the view and sitting at the top and sometimes cracking over a beer at the top with my partner. And then
Nice.
I shouldn't have done that. We've got to go down again. So for me, I love hiking and Veek. Everything's from the back door or from the front door. You know, you're walking 5 minutes and you can start an ascent up a mountain, and
Mm.
that's really nice. Um, so for me, yeah, hiking is something that I love to do. Um, and the wildlife. But Veek really does it all because you can do your glacier tours from Veek as well. And just come to Veek, guys. Stay 3 or 4 days. Come and see me.
Hmm.
I will plan your days.
Well, I will say, if you do go to Vik and you do want to see like the Black Sand Beach and do all this stuff, you have to give yourself an extra day or two because the weather
yeah.
could wipe out a day. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next day, it's gorgeous. What happened to us? We wanted to go
Yeah.
to the Black Sand Beach, and it was like a monsoon out there, as I was saying, with the wind and everything. And it was like, all right, well, we're sleeping here. We'll wake up early tomorrow and go the next day. We woke up early, beautiful sunshine. No one was at the beach. We were there by ourselves. It was like that worked out perfect. But thank God we stayed there. Otherwise, it was like that day would have been just completely wiped out.
Absolutely. And the mornings are the best part of the day. Sorry,
Oh
just
yeah, they
quick.
are.
Here he is. Hello,
He
everybody.
makes an appearance.
There we go. um, yeah, mornings are always the calmest part of the day. It's around lunchtime that Iceland decides it's going to make a decision on the weather.
Mm,
But yeah, Vik is a very underestimated what there is to do in Vik. People just think, oh, it's a hotel stop, and
yeah,
they might do one thing, but
yeah.
there's you can spend a week here and do something really cool every single day.
Well, I
But
can't wait to come back. I will. I'm genuinely curious for people that listen to this and want to come visit you. I know you said your store, your bus opens at one point and closes at one point in the seasons. When do you open? In what season? What day? And then when do you close?
the aim of the game. So we close last day of November, but this year, Kinga, one of my full-time staff, said we should close the 1st of December because that's a Sunday, which makes sense. So she's extended our season by one day, and I love that. I've got. Isn't that nice? A staff member that's like, let's open an extra day at the end of the
Yeah.
season. Fantastic. Um, and then we open. The aim of the game is to open the 1st of March. March is quite a tough season because it can be full whiteouts and blizzards, or it can be like a spring day. So it's a really kind of hit or miss season. And not this season, we haven't, touch wood, we haven't, oh, hiccups, I'm sorry, we haven't had to close for storm days. But last year, March and October, it was just endless closing for storm days. So yeah, 1st of March is the aim of the game. Last day of November or 1st of December and 1st of March we open. And I close the bus. I empty it all. Every single thing is out of there. And I go on holiday. I love it. I love it. It's somewhere warm.
For your new business now. Now you got something else to do.
Yeah, I know. I do have to focus on that. I'm going to try and get a lot of that done before I go on holiday, but I'm definitely going to go on holiday because I don't
Well,
go on holiday for 3 months. I go on holiday for 3 weeks
right.
because, I've got to, I've got to be realistic. I'm a 9-month business, so I need to get income somehow. So I Airbnb the staff house when I'm closed, and that gives me enough income to pay the bills and, cover small living expenses. So there's always something going on.
A true businesswoman at heart. Holly, you're the best.
You
I
are.
I can't wait to do a part three to learn even more about your new business when you're able to talk about it. I can't wait to come visit Iceland again. There's no way I'm coming to Iceland without going down to Vik, passing through, going to Skool Beans at least once, if not twice or even 3 times. It was absolutely delicious. I will admit I will get the pumpkin partay again because it was delicious, but I will have to come back again and try something else. I need to expand my my horizons when it comes to your menu. It looks incredible. It really does.
Oh, good. I'm really pleased. It's great to speak to you again. And again, congratulations on for to you and Kristen for Brooks. And thank you so much for bringing me on again. It's an honor.
Of course, absolutely. And it's we'll do this again very soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.